Welcome to me watching a game of 20 squares on royalerd.net. I joined as soon as it showed up as a game I could watch, but the action has already commenced. Let me just turn on the sound. So as you can see, Light Team has already got 3 counters on the board. 2 counters on the board. A quick takedown from the Dark Team. No way to know who's going to win, but this is a fast-paced game. I just watched the slowest game before this, so these are definitely 2 different players. With the one you want to bring a counter on, that's the best thing to do. You want to fill up your safe zone really as much as you can. With a 2, interesting. They could have taken that 1 blue in the center column, but they didn't. 3 gets you to that rosette, gets you an extra roll. 2 can get you to that middle rosette. Really unfortunate to get a second roll and then roll a 0, but nothing lost. They've put themselves right in danger, being 2 squares in front of the dark piece. But only a 1. Will they bring onto the board or move into the central path? Ooh, they've abandoned the palace. An interesting move that did not pay off for them. Back onto the board. They make mistakes, but they recover quickly, this Dark Team. Yeah, there was no good move then. That 3 takes them into the path of danger, but you have to, eventually. Stay on that central square. Okay. 2 can get them to that final rosette down the bottom. And they must be feeling secure down there. Dark Team's hoping for a 2 or a 4. 1 is fine, you can bring someone onto the board. A pretty neutral turn. A 1. They can take that blue in the middle. No, they can't because it's on the palace square. They can move their bottom counter down here into their safe zone. I think that's what I would do. Or move another counter onto the board. Both good. They opted for the latter. I don't know what I would do here. Yeah. Just making some slow progress. I hope they don't forget that light counter down the bottom of the board. It would be a shame to make all that progress and then lose it. Abandoning the palace once again. With a 2, I would move. Thank you. That blue is chasing them. You need to get into that safe zone. Now they want a 1 or a 3. With a 3, they can take that dark piece. In the middle. Savage. But the right move. Dark Team keeps rolling 2s with no counters in any good places. You should always, ideally, you want your counters to be ready for a 2. Always plan for your next move to be a 2. It is the most common number to show up on these dice. That's what the Light Team has done here. You can see both of these counters are 2 away from a rosette. But does a 2 take them? Dark piece can take that. There we go. Savage. All with a bunch of 2s. Roll another 2, you can get that rosette. Come on. An interesting move. With a 2 now they can take the palace. And they do. With a 3 they can move their counter, onto that rosette. I would move another counter onto the board. Looking very successful moves from Dark Team here. Oh, but they have abandoned the palace for a third time. This is a shocking strategy that seems to be working out. Interesting to move into the danger zone instead of moving another counter onto the board. They are not playing safe at all. They are willing to lose all their counters. They're using some kind of Pikmin method where they just accept all the losses because they're moving so quickly towards a victory. White team very smart to go for the rosette. It didn't pay off this time. With a 2 they can get that palace, come on. Another 2, bring someone onto the board or move their middle piece down. That's what I would do. And there they go. Reminding that they are a threat to these lower pieces. At 1 they can get that rosette. Oh, but they decided to take instead the vindictive move. At 3 from the lights, I would just move someone onto the board. Oh, but they decided to put themselves directly in danger of this central piece. And the first counter is home. My god, it took long enough. These two players are really trying to stop each other getting to the end. Send that piece home, come on. That's what I would do. You don't want to move your central piece. No, because you're more likely to get hit from a 2. They got lucky this time, but that was a bad move. When you have a piece on these final rosettes, you really want to get them off as quickly as possible because you can absolutely lose a game by having a piece stuck there while the other team just sends all their pieces home. Both teams seem kind of unsure on what they're doing at this point. A lot of hesitation going on. With a 1, send that final piece home. It's on the last rosette. Come on now. There we go. And we have equalized. Both teams have 1 home. Finally. With a 1 from the Darks, they get that rosette. Another roll, a 0. Nothing lost. It was a good move that didn't pay off, but it was the right strategy. A 2 can get them to that top left rosette. That's what I would do. Another roll. Another 2. Moving 2 into the danger zone is risky because, there we go, the other team is likely to get a 2 as well and take you. I saw it coming. But they'll recover, I'm sure. I would move this bottom one out of the way. A 2, you can get to the palace. Oh, but they went home instead. Interesting. A 4, you can go with a 4, the best roll. You can go straight from entering the board onto the first rosette. If they roll a 2 now, this would be a spectacular move. Oh, only a 1. I would move their bottom piece into safety. Oh, they're being aggressive. You can tell they wanted to take that middle piece and they decided to make the move even though they didn't get a 2. A little petty, but we love to see it. A 3, see, because they're running away. Smart. I would do the same if I was Dark. Just move onto the board. With a 2, they can get this rosette down the bottom and move into the safe zone. It's not ideal, but this blue counter in the middle is like chasing them down. With a 3, they can get this top left rosette and get another roll, or they can even get the middle square. Either one's good. A 4, they can move straight onto the board to the top left rosette. Come on, that would be really smart. Yeah, but they abandoned the palace instead. Well, you know, I'm spectating, I'm not playing. I don't understand these people that just abandon the middle square like that. Get into the safe zone. Ooh, but they decided to send one home instead. This one down the bottom is so vulnerable. With a 4, you can send someone onto the board and get that first rosette. That's what I would do. Plan to roll a 2. Oh, a 3. Interesting. They could send this blue one into the safe zone at the bottom. They thought about it for a while because there were a lot of good moves they could have done then. And by moving their blue piece into the safe zone, it meant they were giving up on taking that light piece. With both teams sending 2 counters home and 2 counters in their safe zones at the end, it's very equally matched. It's interesting to see. With a 1, they can get that rosette down the bottom. That's what I would do. Interesting move, because they're planning to roll a 2 next turn and get a rosette. With a 1, they could get their rosette down the bottom. Nah, they did. Interesting. Any move is good here. They both go into the... There you go. Full house. With a 3, I would send someone new onto the board, rather than send your light piece into this danger zone with these 4 counters waiting to attack. Oh. Lamb to slaughter. There they go. When you have a full house lined up like that, and then someone steps in the road in front of you, it's like you could roll anything and take them. This game really rewards taking people kind of at the expense of making progress by yourself. The best players don't even try and get to the end. They just try and stop you getting to the end, and they weigh you down. Both teams have 3 counters at home now. Still feels quite equal, but Dark Team has all their counters on the board, and Light still has a lot yet to be sent. With a 2, they can take from the rosette. They've just got the board so stacked in their favor. I would not want to be the lonely light counter there, waiting to be killed. It's like being ambushed. Interestingly, this is not a good time for them to roll a 4, because they don't have anything waiting to send to the first rosette, and they don't have anything that can make it to the second rosette. That was the best move, really. Just make as much progress as you can. Light team must be feeling pretty defeated right now, but it's not over yet. A lot of this game comes down to the rolls. They can send their last place counter onto the rosette. With a 1, they could... It's not a great time to roll a 1. That counter they just moved is kind of in danger of being taken by this light piece that's coming up, but if they roll a 2, oh, but a 1, I would bring someone onto the board and keep all the counters in the safe zone for now. I think I would have done that as well. It's always unfortunate to skip over the middle rosette, but if they left that counter there, it would just get taken. And there it is. That 2 would have taken that counter if it hadn't moved. Another 2. Okay. They can take the light counter. That's what I would do. It feels mean, but that's how you win. A 1 from the lights, that's the only move they could do. A 4 and nowhere to go. Tragic. If they just move their furthest ahead piece, then they can get another roll. There you go. It's like they can hear me. But that's not an ideal move, because you really don't want anything to be stuck on that final rosette. 2 is better, they can take the palace. Palace, taken. Another 2, I would move the piece that's below the palace further down. Wow, they are listening to me. With a 3, I would move a new piece onto the board. rather than be directly in danger. With a 3, yeah, now they're in danger. I think that was the only thing they could do. They kind of blocked themselves further down the board. There is a downside to having all your counters on the board. They get in your way. Your ideal situation is for you to be putting your counters onto the board in the safe zone and have the other team's counters all in front of you, and you just kind of go forward and bulldoze through them. The dark pieces are kind of all vulnerable in the... Oh! Did someone quit? Are they back? Are they back? They wouldn't quit. It's an even enough match that it's not worth quitting over. Interesting they sent home instead of taking that piece in the middle. This light piece is powering through. Oh, is it all over for them? Oh, that's sad to see. But that's the risk you take. With a 3 they can get that rosette at the end, or... There you go. Or just send someone to the safe zone. Oh, a 4 with no moves. We hate to see it. A 2. Yeah. A 3 can send that first square onto the rosette. There we go. 0. Oh, you hate to see it. The dice are really being cruel to both teams here. Mostly the light team. A 1 is fine. You could move any of them 1. Now that there's no dark pieces in the starting place, the light pieces can just kind of go wherever they want. They're not in danger. A little sad though. A 1 gets you that rosette. You can still catch up. The game really isn't over until it's over. A 4 can get you straight to that middle rosette. Oh, but that was a wrong move. Now that the dark pieces are both in that final safe zone, they cannot be taken. So, dark team has won if they can roll a 1 and a 2. And they roll a 1, and a 2 is so likely the game is basically over. It would be incredible to see light team even get a piece back before losing. Oh, a 0. The dice said this game will continue. And another 0. This is hard to watch. And there it is. There's the 2. We knew it was coming. Always expect 2s in this game. Well, what a weird thing that I'm doing. I'm going to watch this game that's like halfway through. Okay. Blue team today played by Evrika, and the light team played by MrOver. We can see both teams have 2 counters home each, but Evrika is truly owning the board. They have their own rosette, they have the central rosette, they have the whole danger zone to themselves. I feel like I just got here late to a massacre. With a 2 they can take that central rosette again. And they do. Interesting move. MrOver gets a 3. They can, yeah, bring a counter on and keep them safe. A 1 from Evrika. Not necessarily a good idea to bring another piece into the danger zone. I think moving down into the valley here was a good idea. Kill. But MrOver has put their light piece into a really precarious situation right now. If Evrika rolls a 1 or a 3, it's all over. Dead. think the way Evrika's playing is very aggressive, but MrOver needs to either meet that aggression with an equal level of aggression or play much more safe. With a 2, I would just move another piece onto the board, stay in the safe zone, but they went straight into the danger zone with nothing to back them up, and a 1 from Evrika means they can take dead. I'm going to keep saying dead. This is a deadly game. A 1, and we're back onto the board with MrOver. A 0 for Evrika, tragic. 3, get that rosette, another roll. 1, take Evrika. MrOver bringing that aggression, but with only a single counter. And then a 3 means Evrika can bring that aggression right back. MrOver needs to build up more counters on the board. This is very... nobody's making any progress. A 2 from Evrika. Not a great roll for them. They could bring 1 onto the board or move their piece out of the valley down in the bottom of the board. That's probably what I would do. And we bring onto the board. Perfectly valid. 3, MrOver gets the rosette again. And a 2, don't move into that empty space and become vulnerable. Bring another piece onto the board. MrOver has learned from their previous mistake. I won't call it a mistake, just a previous move that didn't work out. A 1 is fine, you can't really do anything with it. Yeah. MrOver can take with that 1, and it's what Evrika deserves. But now Evrika's going to take MrOver straight back, and it's exactly what MrOver deserves. With a 1, bring something onto the board. Stay safe. Okay, stayed in the safe zone, fine, can't go wrong. Will Evrika bring onto the board or move one of these pieces out of the danger zone and down into the valley? Onto the board. Aggressive player. A 2 takes instead of brings onto the board. Interesting, because now MrOver's piece is straight back in danger. With a 1, Evrika can get that rosette. Oh, we hate to see a 4 that they can't move onto the first rosette, you know. A 1, they can send it straight home. Send that piece all the way home. Or they can take MrOver. Interesting choice. Charlotte's Web. They took instead of sending home. It's so interesting, because they could end up with that counter stuck on that rosette at the end of the game. They got lucky and rolled a 1. Will they get it off the rosette now? There we go. And Evrika takes the lead with 3 counters home to MrOver 2. MrOver brings another counter onto the board. MrOver's in a great position here to get that rosette and take all of Evrika's pieces from behind. Evrika is really holding onto that central palace square, which is a smart move, but it's also, you know, it's a bit less fun. For such a aggressive player, I kind of want to see them abandon the palace, but we'll see. With a 2, I'd just bring another 1 onto the board. There's no point putting yourself in danger. Are they trying to coax Evrika off the central square? It could work. With a 1, Evrika can take this light piece in the valley or this light piece at the top of the board. And the 1 in the valley is almost home, so it's kind of better to take that, but then you'd have to abandon the palace to do so. So they actually played it more safe. Interesting. Oh, and a 0. You hate to see it. Oh, a 4 can get you straight to the rosette. We love to see it. And then a 0. We hate to see it. Honestly, rolling a 4 and a 0 feels like it balances out. It's still a good move. With a 1 now, Evrika could again abandon the palace. Oh, but they did not. It's interesting that MrOver left that piece by the palace. It's clearly there as bait. Because they're not moving it out of danger. With a 2, Evrika can take the first rosette. And with another 2, they can bring a piece onto a board. This does gridlock them now. If they do so, it'll make it really hard to move pieces in the next turn because they're so crowded. But they got a 1, so it all worked out. You can move any of them with a 1. With a 3, yes, sensible move. The bait didn't work, so MrOver switched strategy to just get out of the danger zone. Through the valley, safe zone. A 1 gets the rosette, but it does put you in that tricky situation. With a 2, they can take. This is a very vindictive game. With a 3, there's nothing to take, but they can come onto the board again. That's what I do. And that's what they did. With a 3 for MrOver, they can take the first rosette. And a 1 they could take with. Or send their piece home from the bottom. They decided to take, of course they went for the more vindictive of the 2 options. Now both teams only have 1 counter in their home base. They can take with a... Oh. No, they can't, sorry. I'm looking at the wrong team. There's nothing good to do here. Just move something, there's nothing good. Can't move that piece onto the board with a 3, that was the problem. Through the valley for MrOver. Pretty uneventful. A 2 from Evrika. They can bring onto the board. Gridlock themselves again. They love doing this. With a 3 from MrOver, this counter in the safe zone can take. Yes, that's what I would have done. But with a 1 from Evrika, now they can take back. I would send home with that 1. Thank you for listening to me. Just move onto the board with that 3. It's the only thing you can really do. Or they could abandon the palace and take that advanced piece down there. They won't do that. I don't think they'll ever abandon this palace. Especially with MrOver 2 squares behind the palace, it's quite likely that they would take it next turn. Yeah, playing it safe. The aggression has kind of gone down. Now Evrika is playing it safe. MrOver takes the rosette. And that counter that could have just been taken is now safe. Forever, you see. With a 2, Evrika can take the top right rosette. That's what I would do. And with another 2, now they can take MrOver's piece right there in the danger zone. That's why you don't hang out in the danger zone. Nothing good with that 2. Just move that middle top counter. Yes, it's like you heard me, but you did it before I said. Nothing good to do with that too. Just move one of your pieces. I would move the piece that's just above the palace to below the palace into the valley because it's in such a dangerous zone. Yeah, like that. With a 3 for MrOver, they can take this topmost piece in the danger zone. That's why we call it the danger zone. You do not want to hang out there. And with this 3, Evrika can do exactly the same back. You do not want to hang out in the danger zone. Guys, you're not listening to me. It's still all to play for. They both have 3 home. Evrika's main advantage is coming from holding onto this palace. They are squatting in the palace. With a 3, I would just bring a new one onto the board. If Evrika brings a new piece onto the board, it's kind of threatening to the light pieces in the danger zone. Or they could just advance their lowest down piece through the valley. They decided to threaten. I see what's going on here. Oh, and a kill in the danger zone. That won't be forgotten. Evrika can take the rosette. If they roll a 3, oh, a 1. Can't do anything good with that. But a 1 for MrOver is good. Get that rosette. Oh, and taking someone in the valley. Oh, you hate to see it when someone's made it that far. That's a lot of progress that was just lost, you know? I'd say you don't want to hesitate in the danger zone, but you don't want to hesitate in the valley either. Or really anywhere on the board except for the safe zones. I mean, self-explanatory. I think I would just move on to the board with that 3, but moving through the valley is fair enough, since we know that that piece on the palace is not moving anywhere. A 2 from Evrika onto the board. Pretty conservative play. A 3 from MrOver. Oh, sends one home. MrOver now leading 4 counters home to Evrika's 3. Honestly, didn't see this coming. I thought Evrika was going to clean sweep this game. You could tell as we get further in, Evrika's slowing down, and it's because you really need more and more strategy as the game goes on. They only have the 4 counters, and MrOver only has the 3 counters. Like, the ones that are home are out of play. So the fate of your 3 or 4 counters feels much more important. With a 2, MrOver can get the rosette. Decided not to. Jumped over the palace instead, straight into the valley. Interesting move. I don't know if it was a good move, but sometimes interesting moves work out. Oh, not this time though. Yeah. With that 1, I would just send that counter home. Interestingly, no, didn't do that. MrOver differing more and more from what I would do, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're playing bad, because I'm not a very good player. I seem to be pretty good at predicting what people do. I don't know why I always lose when I play this game, but there we go. Those who can't do spectate. With a 1, come on, send it home. Ugh, they bring another one onto the board instead. I worry that this piece on this rosette at the bottom left of the board is just going to get stuck there. With a 3, Evrika should probably move this. Okay. The pieces either side of the temple were a good one to move. But if they had moved that one that I was going to say, it wouldn't have just got taken, because it was in the danger zone. A 3 from Evrika, they can take that piece that just took their piece. MrOver and Evrika now both have 1 piece back at home base. With another 1 for MrOver, the dice are telling you to please, thank God you sent that one home, because it was really going to get stuck there, and it's so frustrating to see that happen. And I'm glad I didn't. Interestingly, Evrika has now gone onto the final square. With a 1, will they send it home? Yes. Will Evrika move a new piece onto the board? No, go straight through the valley, get out of the danger zone. Smart move. MrOver gets the rosette and a 2. Things are moving quickly. A 4 gets you straight onto the board, straight onto that rosette. Come on. That's what I would do. No questions. Interesting move. I wouldn't have done that. No good moves for Evrika. 2 into the danger zone is fine, but you are in the danger zone because MrOver has his piece there waiting. Yeah, get out of the danger zone. With a 1, I would send that last piece home to heaven or whatever. Get off the board. That's what I would do. You're safer being 1 square in front of a counter than 2 squares in front of a counter. I'm looking at the top of the board because people are more likely to roll a 2 than a 1. Oh, but a 3, that'll take you. Dead in the danger zone. In this game, shocking. With a 1, I would just come straight back onto the board. At this point, it would be sensible to use that central piece on the temple to be ready to take, because it's like the last opportunity to take. If Evrika moves the further up on the board piece, yeah, this is looking very aggressive towards that light piece in the valley. This is the last chance to take that piece for Evrika. MrOver almost has everything safe. The dice did not wish it to happen. Yeah. Ooh, MrOver gets stuck. If Evrika rolls a 2 or a 4, a 3. Ugh. Another 0 for MrOver. This must be so frustrating for them. Another 3 for Evrika. All Evrika needed was a 2 or a 4, and they got a 3. A 2 for MrOver can get them into the safe zone. That's it. All their pieces are safe. They cannot be taken, but they could get stuck on that final rosette. Evrika quite statistically likely to roll a 2 and get their safe piece home, and then it's all down to the dice. If MrOver rolls a 1, they've won. A 3. If Evrika rolls a 4, they've won. Okay, a 1. Now they need a 3, but MrOver still just needs a 1. A 0, the worst result. A 3, hey, that's what Evrika needs. A 2 for Evrika gets them onto the rosette, and now it's just whoever rolls a 1 first. It really came down to this. Photo finish ending. And there it is, MrOver, and I think it is the correct winner. And that's that. Good game, good players, both very good players.